Hello, my most amazing artists. How are you today? Ready to create? Well, today we are going to create Neurographica. It sounds pretty complicated, doesn't it? But it's pretty easy. As you can see, it's just lines, and you can draw a line, right? Well, Neurographica basically is taking everything going on in your brain, every mixed up crazy thought, and putting it onto paper, which is art. Neuro means a cell in the brain that carries messages, and graphica means art, pictures, and shapes. So some of the reasons that we are making Neurographica art today are, number one, it looks really cool. Number two, it's very expressive with all the shapes and colors and lines. And most importantly, number three, the practice of making Neurographica is very stress relieving. And it helps us forget some of those worries and maybe challenges that are going on in our life. So you can release all of your negative thoughts onto the paper and you can begin to be more relaxed and calm. So, in other words, by drawing Neurographica, we can start to transform the way we react to negative experiences. We can turn fear or chaos going on in our lives into something more calming, peaceful, and beautiful. The very first step to creating Neurographic art is to think of something you wish to find peace in. Is there something going on in your life that's causing you to feel stress? Or do you feel overwhelmed by something and just can't seem to focus because of it? What is your current challenge? So you're going to write this down as a simple word or statement on the back of your paper. Consider an area of discomfort, concern, or challenge in your life. Let's take a moment to pause and write that on the back of your paper. If we were to use watercolor, we would tape our paper down, but since we will be using a dry material, colored pencil to be exact, tape is optional. Now, here in a moment, we will be using a dark line material, more specifically a Sharpie, to create our lines. Now we're moving on to the second step of our Neurographic art. Step 2 is to focus on your challenge, whatever you wrote on the back of your paper. And now for 3 long seconds, make 3 to 5 free, loose, flowing lines that go across the surface of your paper. Try to move your arm freely, filling your paper, and again, just think about that challenge and see what kind of lines come through. As you can see, this is a very expressive activity. One more thing with the lines. If any lines do not extend to the edges, continue them off the page. Moving on to the third step. Your next step is the transformation. Did you know you will attract into your life whatever you focus on? It's called the law of attraction. So if you try to focus on more positive things rather than negative, more good things will happen in your life instead of bad. So now you are going to curve out all your corners to transform your image and also hopefully your reality. In other words, you're going to turn the cause of your stress into something beautiful and positive. Now look closely. Notice how I'm rounding out the corners. So you also want to round out your corners and check each intersection. Now look, all those lines of anger or maybe sadness are being turned into something amazingly beautiful. Check each of your line intersections and make sure you are rounding out all of those corners. As you are doing this, you might find yourself highly focused and caught up in the moment of what you are doing. And that's exactly what you want to have happen. And the purpose is to go into a bit of a fully relaxed state so that even if it's just for a moment, you can actually stop thinking about all that worries you and find more peace. When all of your corners have been fully rounded out, step 4 is to add additional lines to make your artwork even better if you choose. If you choose to add more lines, where you put them is up to you. You will start to see that your artwork is beginning to take shape. And just think, this all started with a few lines stemming from your worries or challenges, and now we see lines that are beautiful. And you can look at this as an amazing piece of art that you now have control over. An interesting side note, the Russian psychologist Piskarov, who created Neurographica, claims that this art awakens dormant neuroconnections which stimulates positive change within the artist. So, in other words, by creating Neurographica, you are, in a way, firing up and lighting up those sleepy neurons in your brain in a positive way. The last and final step is enhance your Neurographica with color. We will be using color pencil, but as you can see, you can also use watercolor. Colored pencils work just as well, and they work really well for blending. You can color inside shapes with solid or blended colors depending on what you want. And also, you can change colors whenever you wish. I recommend you use 3 or more colors for variety, regardless of what material you're using. Experiment with the use of different values from dark to light throughout your shapes. Experiment with layering colors regardless of your material. You can layer colors with colored pencil as well. Now we are going to pause the video and I am going to show you how you can blend your colors using colored pencil. We're going to blend our colors from dark to light to get the same effect that you see here with the watercolor. When your work is complete, the last and final step is to reflect on the final process and product. Ask yourself some questions. Number 1, did you enjoy the process? Number 2, how did you feel while you were making this work of art? And number 3, how do you feel now? So now I'm going to show you a few variations to neurographic art. So what you're seeing here is neurographic art created with a colored Sharpie or colored Sharpies. And then you can also take your black Sharpie or black colored pencil and add somewhat of a shadow to one side of each colored section to kind of make it pop, and you'll see what it looks like here in a moment. So that's a really nice effect, as you can see, so you can try that. Another variation, as we mentioned earlier, you can add more lines. You could trace shapes when adding more lines. Any circle shape works really well. So that's neurographic art. I hope you had fun creating your neurographic art. I hope you were able to express yourself with your neurographic art, and most importantly, I hope you were able to find peace and calm with your neurographic art today.